a lot of things that are happening to kids medically as well, because kids don't get to play outside anymore. So a lot of allergies, a lot of the immune breakdowns that kids have is because they're not getting outside, interacting with the environment. They're not playing outside anymore. So so we have things like allergies and all those things we used to really have, but have it at limitations. That is a really, really good book. Highly recommended. Thank you, Belinda. And then finally, just to conclude, what can teachers, parents do? Set up learning spaces where children can play. But make play a learning experience some of the time, not all the time. Some of the time, kids just need to be kids and just need time to play. I understand we're academically focused. We're interested in the school readiness because it's such a big priority right now. But there needs to be a time we allow kids to just be kids and for kids to just play. Play with the kids. Get on the floor and play with them. Get the trouble board out and play with them. As they're playing, as they're counting, as they're learning, scaffold where they may make mistakes in counting or in a sequence or wherever it may be. Pick out challenges for them. Have a bunch of different bears and say, hey, let's sort some bears. How many of you can, pick out all the yellow bears? How many of the yellow bears were you able to find? Road count them for me. Are there more yellow bears or red bears? Make some challenges to make it more fun for the kids to do. Maybe provide them with some forceps where they can't use their hands, but have to use some other kind of skill to be able to kind of make it fun. Have them drop them in buckets or something just to make it more playful if you still want to get the academic point across instead of just a drill and practice. And then play games that incorporate social behaviors. Games help us follow rules. It helps us learn how to take turns. It helps us learn how to count and so on and so on and so on and so on. There is so much social skill, so much cognitive skill, so much emotional skill, so much physical skill that is learned just from simply playing with kids or letting kids play. And I will stop there and I will gladly take any questions, and I will actually exit out of my share screen.
Ruslan, I started a conversation when you were talking about play as a way for children to handle and process stress and trauma. I was thinking of our current stress and trauma for children being COVID, and just asked if people were seeing COVID-related play, and a couple of people did. Well, Teresa said that she saw children giving COVID shots in the dramatic play area. And then Donna's comment was about her grandchildren acting out the typhus outbreak because they had been watching Little House on the Prairie. So, similar to some of our experiences today.
Yeah, COVID's been tough on play. I mean, when we were isolated, a lot of kids, they couldn't play with other kids. I mean, they were home with their parents. That's for young children, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's a big part of their life, not to be able to grow, learn, and develop. And thinking about those kids that were 4 and then had to go to kindergarten this year and how much they missed out on that year, maybe from virtual learning, maybe just from virtual playing, and just socially being around other kids and knowing how to pick out social cues. When someone approaches you, how do you react? How do you respond? How do you respond? Somebody says, let's play this, right? We had months and months where kids didn't have those kind of opportunities in those kind of experiences. And some kids are still not having that because some parents are still opting into virtual schooling and virtual environments for kids where they're still home 15, 16 months later, where, half their lives now, for a 4-year-old has been spent maybe in some kind of form of isolation from other kids. So yeah, I think we're going to, at some point, pay a price for that as kids start to enter kindergarten and start to engage in social environments where for the last year and a half, they've been in environments solely around their families and they've not experienced a rich social play experience. And I think schools have to be prepared for that. Kindergarten teachers have to be prepared for that, but also preschool teachers. Those kids that are turning 5 and going to be coming into your classrooms, they're going to have anxieties, they're going to have stressors, and they may need help learning how to play. because some kids will need to be taught how to do certain play things that we often take for granted, how to pretend, how to imagine, how to create, how to problem solve, how to construct knowledge. All those things we think are natural ways that kids engage and learn. But when you don't have those social opportunities and social experiences, kids miss out on that. And then we have to end up teaching those skills that are typically natural for them.
It makes me think about developmentally children starting with more parallel play before they're able to really interact in cooperative play. And we may have to take some children back to that place of being able to play side by side with similar materials and moving eventually into those more higher developed skills. It's a good point.
I'm thinking we may have to go beyond that. So you mentioned Parton's parallel play. So Parton had this notion of unoccupied onlooker, parallel, associative, and cooperative play. We may have to go back to onlooker, where kids are simply sitting and watching other kids play to learn what to do. Because parallel play takes into account that they already know what to do. They're playing and somebody else is playing, but they're just completely oblivious of each other. We may have to even go a step back and have kids actually do observations and sit in a classroom and just watch kids play and say, oh, that's how you do it. I mean, kids do that now already, but that's because they're trying to figure out a peer culture maybe. But I think that may be real for many kids who have not experienced play in a social dynamic. And they have to sit instead of parallel play or associative play or cooperative play. They're just figuring out what to even do. What do I do in this social setting? How do I even get into a peer play situation? Do I ask? Do I bring a prop? What if I come in and they say no? What do I do then? Right? There's a lot of anxiety and stress for kids trying to figure out, how do I make myself available for other kids to want to engage with me or play with me? And those things are learned early on, but when you don't have that experience, obviously kids miss out on that and they have to be taught. And we have to provide behavior modifications and play strategies for kids to be able to do that. And that to me is scary. When something as natural as play, we have to systematically teach the kids almost like they're a robot. You do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. And that's scary that we may be at a point like that with some children coming back to school, whether it's this year or maybe they're still virtual this year in school, but then next year. And how do teachers do that if it's not kindergarten, in first grade, when kids may have missed out on 2-3 years of some kind of face-to-face social instruction? So yeah, COVID has not been kind in that regard. I agree, Donna. Play is an important part of everything. Working out their fears, anxieties. It's one of those natural ways for kids to cope and really manage the stress that they're dealing with. As adults, we can talk to our friends and talk things out and get advice. Kids oftentimes don't understand the stressors and the fears that they have. And so they have to figure out other outlets for it. And play seems to be just that natural outlet. Play, art, those things to be just natural outlets for them to deal and cope with their anxieties and fears. Anyone else? Still got some time.
This is more of an observation than a question, and this might give you hope, Ruslan, or maybe it'll be a future research project. But one thing I've noticed during COVID, I'm a camper, I camp, and it's been difficult getting sites because camping during COVID was the one place people felt comfortable because they would be in their own camper or their own tent. And I've also noticed that there's a place selling campers around me is running out of campers because, again, it's become so popular. And when I do camp before COVID, what I loved most about camping as an educator was it was the last place where children are like riding their bikes and playing games and there's no adult supervision. It's like this sense of, and I don't think it's false, sense of security that parents let their children ride the campground, until like nighttime, like I used to do as a kid. And I get the sense that children don't do anymore. But after COVID, I was wondering how this is going to affect children, but I noticed that there's still that sense of wonder and getting out with children they don't know, creating games with whatever they have around them and the cutest thing, just this last time I went camping at Mommy Bay, was there were these children playing a game. They were racing. After they raced, this little boy announced, "You won and you won." And this little girl said to him, "Well, that's not what you should say. You should say, Kathy won and Ruslan came in second." And the little boy said, "Well, I would, but I don't know your name and I don't know his name and I don't know her name." So these kids were getting together and playing. And I know camping is a small microcosm of community, but it is interesting. And then I think about, which comes first, the chicken or the egg? Are they feeling comfortable in that place because it's nature? And even though they have internet access now at campgrounds, they'd rather be outside because nature's right outside their door. Just a thought.
Yeah, no, it is great. And I think families that choose to camp and do those outdoor things, I think, have a different viewpoint of technology to begin with. They do go camping to kind of unplug. I know my wife and our kids, we went up to Michigan and we camped for a weekend, and it was a natural way to unplug. We were camping, the internet service was bad. So that was one of the ways my kids unplugged, because let's face it, they couldn't log in. I mean, believe me, they tried, but eventually they gave up. And you know what we ended up having? We played cards, we went hiking, we went shopping, we went eating, we talked, we watched TV together. We did a lot more family stuff than when typically, well, my daughter's in college now, so she's not home, but when my son's even home, if we're doing stuff together, he's on his phone doing something. And if I'm talking to him, I'm talking to him while he's on his phone. And so I'm competing with this device constantly. And it's not just him, it's kids in general, where that device is the priority. And I become kind of that secondary nuisance in his ear. And sometimes I have to say things 2-3 times to get his attention, because ironically, he didn't hear me the first 2 times because he is so focused on the screen. So yeah, I am optimistic about, obviously the camping community and their view of technology, but I'm just seeing so much of it now, Belinda, and how pervasive it is. If you go to a restaurant now, you see kids on devices. No one's talking to each other. The parents are on their phone, the kids are on their phone. Kids are developing very antisocial behaviors, and you take away a lot of the time they engage in play. Where are they learning those skills? That's where I'm concerned about the brain development of, I'm okay being alone because I got my device. And I think those kind of things are, I don't know what the next 20 years is going to look like, but I certainly know where the last 10 years has been. And we've certainly progressed very, very quickly with children's access to technology and just how cheap it's become and how easily accessible it is. I mean, kids have tablets now that are their own. They use them, they're their own. 3-year-olds have their own devices. Kids are playing on their parents' phones without much reservation. Here you go. So I just worry about just the reconceptualization of what parents are seeing as viable play. And I think a lot of parents are opting into technology as a new normative viable play. And I think those of us in education, we certainly can understand how that is not, because we know different, but your average parent does not. And so when they see these devices, they see other kids engage with them, they see it as normal behavior. They don't think about brain development. They don't think about social engagement. They don't think about being outside and playing. Those kind of things go out the window. And so I worry about that component of it. And that's kind of that next phase we're trying to study. And I know my colleagues in Europe and I are trying to look at that next batch of data to kind of see what schools, like preschools in general, are doing with technology. I'll tell you right now, our first gleaning at the data says that luckily everyone is in the education world is cautious of technology. They're looking at other forms of play, such as traditional play, outdoor play, as still the key agents of how kids learn and develop. And technology is, I don't want to say frowned upon, but is a distant third when you talk to educators, at least, about its role in children's play and development. But that's an initial look at the data, more obviously to follow. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Slutsky. We really appreciate ending a day about school readiness on the topic of play. I think it's so critical to maintain its role in children's lives and in whatever we mean by school readiness. So thank you for that. And I'm going to turn it to Heather.
Thank you. I want to say special thank you to all of our presenters today. We couldn't have, pulled this day off without all of you. So thank you very much. In addition to that, we want to give both of our sponsors just a few minutes to, talk about their agencies and everything, since they are one of the other reasons that we're here. So Joseph, would you like to start with CareSource, and then we'll go into Michelle with Owens? Maybe. Oh, you're muted, Joseph.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Thank you. Well, it's been a great day today, and I'm actually at Owens. I'm out of our corporate headquarters in Dayton, but Owens has kind of housed me today, so I am here, and it's been a great day. I loved a lot of the exercises there. I'm glad my head was flat, so I was able to balance that paper plate earlier in one of the exercises there. So I was able to do that pretty easily there from that standpoint. But I'm Joseph Smith with CareSource. I talked earlier in the community room there. Like I said, we are very happy to be one of the sponsors here, and hopefully next year we'll be able to see each other in person, so we can have some real socialization. And I will go ahead. We are sponsored the CEUs that you had today. I will go ahead and let you know that we will be back again next year to sponsor these for you again. So we will be full participant of that. I will put my information in the chat in case anybody needs to get a hold of me. I know we're at the end of the day here, but I'll make sure my email address and phone numbers in there, which rings directly to me, which I always have my phone with me, so you can get a hold of me. But love community activities, community events. Don't hesitate to reach out to us. Heather and the rest of the team that put this together, you did a fantastic job. So make sure you pat yourself on the back there, because you did a great job pulling this together. So thank everybody. Everybody have safe travels getting home. Have a great weekend. I'm actually going to see 3 of my grandkids this weekend, so I get to beat them up. A couple of pillow fights in there, so should be a fun weekend ahead. So everybody have a great and blessed day. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. And now Dr. Michelle Arbogast with Owens.
I had a couple slides, but you know what? I think we're slided out today. But what I'd like to say is, again, thank you so much for allowing Owens to help sponsor this great event. We are happy to do so. We'll do it again next year. We're also so proud to be one of the area's premier teacher education and preparation institutions with our NACE accredited early childhood education program. Some of our students are participating here today, so I think it's a great opportunity for them to see such a group of amazing experts in the field, how things are changing to interact with their colleagues. So that I think is a very point of pride for Owens, that we do have a lot of institutions in the area. We partner with a lot of you. So that's another wonderful point of pride. We do have programs that we're working on with the various institutions, high school institutions, including our College Credit Plus programs, in which we're working with our Start Here Scholarship. If you're not familiar with that, Start Here Scholarship is if students take 3-hour credits, so a total of 9 credit hours in a CCP classes through Owens, they get free tuition when they come to Owens after high school. So that's a really good incentive to get started even in high school. Also, we are working with the YW on a program with our CDA to associate degree. We're very proud of this pilot program, which just launched in August, in which we are having students who want to get their CDA through the YW, and we're partnering with them in offering a college support program. So the students will enroll as well in the CDA and our early childhood education program. And we provide them with a support course in English and math free of charge, so that they can, when they get to placement testing, they will have the support that they need, along with some special days that we meet to give them inspiration, to help them get acclimated to college, to help them get acclimated to online learning. So it's a unique program. We got 6 students. It's going really well so far. We also have a community and family service program, which is a little bit about what we talked about earlier in the day, with working with not only children, but also families. So this particular degree brings those 2 things together. It's a little bit of education and a little bit of social work, which brings us to our social work program, pathway program, which is a 2x2. So you come in, you take 2 years at Owens, and then you can partner with UT, BG, Lords, and several other partners. Couple other just initiatives, and then I'll wrap it up. But we also are instituting an interpreter program in fall. So if you've ever watched any of the governor's press conferences, and he has the group there that are signing, we are working on that program because in Northwest Ohio, there literally is none. So there's a shortage in interpreters. So if that's something that interests people, we'll have an associate's in that. But coming off of that, and maybe valuable to some of you, we're having 2 different certificates we're pulling out of there. One certificate is just in sign language, and that's going to start over the summer, so you can learn to sign. Another certificate will be working with frontline folks who want to just be able to communicate with the deaf community, whether that's early childhood, or whether it's a nurse at the reception desk, or whether it's a fireman. So we're pulling some of those certificates out, so it's not a long-term commitment, but you can get some of those skills, which I think is really incredibly valuable. So thank you again for allowing us to participate. We love our partnerships, and if there's opportunities to partner, I will throw my information in the chat as well. And we are always looking for those opportunities to break down barriers, to get this information out to the folks that need it. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you to both of you for your sponsorship. We really appreciate it. So with that being said, a few housekeeping things before we let you go for the afternoon. We hope you guys all enjoyed yourself. Please make sure that you go back onto that website with the interactive agenda and complete the evaluation. Again, you only need to complete it for the sessions that you attended. But I do believe if you were seeking CEUs, you need to do that because we have to give them information from the evaluation. So if you were hoping for CEUs, you need to go do that, but we need everybody too, so that we know how the day went and where we can plan for our 5th annual next year. Hard to believe it's 5 already then. So please make sure that you go and complete that evaluation. On that website, there's also on that homepage of the website, Dr. Arbogast has put for us our list of our Lucas County Early Childhood Coordinating Committee meetings. So for the next year, there's a list there. There's also a flyer to our virtual meeting in December. So if you've got a passion for early childhood and you want to make community connections, we are always seeking new people to join us. If you really enjoyed today and you want to help us plan next year's, come on down. So please join us. You can always reach out to any of the committee members, myself, Dr. Hannon, Teresa, Kathy, all of us, and we would be happy to get you connected.
Don't forget about the door prizes.
Yes. Let me pull up my, do you guys need to see me do the randomization, or can I just
And
do
there's
it?
2 questions, Heather, before you do that. Will
Perfect.
the handouts and slides be on the forum website?
Yes. Yep. Michelle
Okay.
was. So we will work to get those from the presenter so that they are all up there. So maybe not by the end of today, since it's almost 3:30, but early next week, hopefully those will all be up. The recordings will also be there. So if you wanted to attend both sessions, but you have yet to figure out how to split yourself in 2, then you can always go back and watch the other session that you weren't able to attend as well.
And there's a question about whether any of the sessions were approved, Ohio approved.
Unfortunately, no, we were not able to get anything Ohio approved. There's a little bit of a backlog with that anyway, but we weren't able to do that. We strive to do it every year. Maybe next year for lucky number 5, we will be able to accomplish Ohio approval. All right.
That's
other questions, link for this, I just see that one come in. Link for the survey. It is on the interactive agenda website. So the website that you've been going to all day to get your Zoom links, that is where it is. Upper right-hand corner, there is an evaluation tab that you'll just click on that and it will take you right to the evaluation. All right, let me pull back up. Well, that didn't randomize real well because I'm pretty sure that's one of them I did earlier. Yep, let me just try a different one here. All right, 53. And I apologize if I mispronounced names. Is it Rakia Roundtree?
Yes, Rakia.
Perfect. All right, let me get wrote down here. I'm highlighting on my page too. All right, next. Sarah Mathie, Mathie.
Yep, that's correct.
All right. Let's see. Jannie Durstein, Jannniederstine.
It's Janie. Close enough.
Janie, I'm sorry. I never claimed to be very good at this. Good help's hard to find. Let's see. Anna Guvener, Guvener. And the last one. Stephanie Parsons. So if your name was drawn for one of the door prizes, we will figure out how to, we've got all your emails from the registration. So we will reach out via email to make connection to get you that door prize. If anybody has any questions, the committee members will be on here for a little bit, but please make sure you fill out that evaluation. It was great to have everybody today. Have a good weekend.
Everybody, great weekend.
Thank you.
That was good. All the speakers were great. The singing was also fun.
Oh, yeah. I was happy to sing and dance. That was fun.
The movement was fun too. Right, it came right at the right time.
Next,
Needed a stretch.
next year, karaoke.
Yeah,
Here we go.
about a mini marathon in the middle.
Joseph and Michelle, thanks for committing to next year too. It's really
Absolutely.
so helpful to have that stability, to just count on that. And it gives the rest of us just lots of breathing room to focus on the content, and
Absolutely. Not a
really
problem.
appreciate it. Hanging
Maybe
with
next year I
us.
can do more door, I can do some door prizes next year. Be fun.
Awesome. What are the door prizes?
He's got bags in there. He's got a whole couple boxes of them. I'm dying to see what's in them.
Just a little something. I think people,
Can you show
just
them
like,
one?
yeah, hold
Yeah,
on.
show them one. It's pretty cool.
It's a nice knapsack here. I don't know if you can. It's got stuff inside there, and you can use it after after you're done there. So something useful. So,
Nice.
and there's stuff inside the bag. So
Very nice. Thank you.
Those of you who have stayed on, does anyone have any questions?
They may have maybe walked away and didn't realize it's over yet.
yeah.
Or doing
Yeah,
evaluations, maybe.
Or doing evaluations.
Yeah.
That could be too.
Let's lean toward that, doing the evaluations.
That's right. Be kind.
I think
Oh.
things went pretty smoothly. Transitions.
What is going to be our easiest way, do you suppose, to get our door prizes to people?
Five of the people I know and work with pretty regularly, so I can take care of that.
Okay. Well, Belinda's 6. She should just take hers the next time she's on campus. Michelle, you're on mute.
Yeah, I can grab Belinda's. I can set aside 5 of them for Kathy if you want, if you have a chance to stop by and pick them up.
Figure it out.
Okay.
I don't
Just
feel
send me
good. I need to go to bed. I'm not ready. No, I'm serious. I don't feel good.
Aw,
Okay. I'll email you, Kathy, and find out which ones you're getting, and then I can,
Yeah.
that only leaves 4 of them. We'll figure it out.
take care, Kathy.
Yeah, thank
All right.
you.
Get better
some
this
rest.
weekend. Yes.
All right, folks, do you think we should go ahead and end it?
Yeah, do we have a debrief date?
No, not technically. Probably November.
Okay,
November would be good.
So technically our planning meeting would have been, because we'd been going the every other month. So November 3rd would have been our normal planning meeting if we'd have kept with those dates. I'll send an email. We'll see what people like.
That
Okay.
sounds good.
thank
That does
you.
sound good.
Okay,
Joseph, I'll be over in a minute we'll store those.
Very good.
okay.
right,
Thanks,
folks.
everybody.
I'm gonna
Thank
go
you,
ahead and shut
everybody.
down.
All right.
All right,
Bye.
see ya.
Great
Have a
job,
good
everybody.
Have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend, everyone.